Hey, and welcome back. Monday. I forgot to mention this last week, but really significant for our area. We have a new judge, and he's gotten sworn in. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit of time before you'll see him with his own caseload or his own cases. But David Caraker has just been a tremendous employee for our office. He's been here at least 10 or 12 years, and he handled all of our drug cases. He managed the team that handled all of the drug cases. So David was also a U.S. attorney, and he ran for and was elected to be a circuit court judge for our area. So now we've got 3 circuit court judges, and then people that rotate in and out. We've got Judge Culbertson, Judge Alex Hyman, and now Judge David Caraker. David brings a lot of skill sets to the job. He's a very hard worker, very smart, very fair. But the thing that will take place, what you'll see for a while, is they will probably assign Judge Caraker to a lot of civil cases. And the reason for doing that is because he worked on some of these criminal cases, and they don't want him to be in a position to be the judge and the prosecutor. So if he does do any criminal cases, he will mention that to each defendant that comes up and ask them if they want to get a different judge. That's one way to cure it. Another way to cure it is just not do many criminal cases. But we're looking forward to having him when he can start doing a lot of criminal cases, because his work ethic will help not only us, but the public defender and the private bar and everybody to move through some of these backlogs. You know, it really is a process where you've got to have someone protecting the rights of the defendant. That's the private bar, the public defender. You got to have somebody that's protecting the rights of society, and that's the solicitor. Then you've got to have a judge or a referee to make sure it's all fair. And all of those things have to come together with court reporters, clerks of court. It's a whole thing. And you really can't do it without that. One of the issues, and I'll be brief on this, but one of the issues that we see coming up and that you hear about all the time for a case getting continued, it's, and I talked about this just a second at the end of our last video, but you have these rules that are not only passed by our General Assembly, but you also have rules that are passed by court rules. And every circuit is under this case management, which if it can be used sort of to slow down the process. And once you understand what everybody's role is the prosecutor is to move forward with the case, the defense attorney is to try to slow everything down and to try to, they're only worried about that one particular defendant. So they will use the case management order to, and there's some loopholes in there, they'll use that to try to slow everything down. One of the things is, I'll give you a perfect example of a loophole. The case management order says you cannot put anything on the trial roster unless all of the testing has been done. Now, Jimmy doesn't test anything, right? Don't see a lab suit. I don't do that. That's SLED. SLED will tell you I'm not going to test anything until I got a trial roster spot. So now we're in this vicious cycle where we have to put it on there on one of those double secret trial roster spots months out, so that by the time it works on to the published trial roster spot, that you can go forward with it. all of those things is trying to make sure that the prosecutor turns over everything to the defense attorney, which is known in the legal realm as discovery. Discovery is all of the stuff that the police have collected that make us believe that the defendant did it. Another part of discovery is anything, whether it's turned over by the police or by a third party, that says the defendant didn't do it. We've got to be just as we've got to be looking for that at the same time and turn that over to the defense. So all of that process is discovery, and that is a fertile ground. What a real trick that you'll see, I'm not blaming anybody, and maybe trick isn't the best word, but it ends up being a trick. But what they do, the defense does, is come up and says, Judge, we got 700 pieces of paper and 3 videos, but we didn't get this 4th video. They're trying to hide something. They didn't turn it over. Now they turn it over at the last minute because we asked for it. We need a continuance. We need to put this case off. Well, the 4th video you knew about from all of the 700 pages, and you knew about from the other videos. It's just that you asked for a 4th angle with a different cop and a different body-worn camera, and now you're trying to turn that into an appellate issue, or to continue it at best, and at worst to have an appealable issue, because your goal is to get this guy to protect his rights, and to get, all you're worried about is getting this particular defendant off if you're the defense attorney. Well, our role is much different, and we have to worry about all of those, and then you find yourself standing in front of a judge and saying, Judge, that is not discovery. Discovery is in this rule. It's called Rule 5. If you read it, that's everything that we expect discovery to be. And then there's a case called Maryland Brady, and that is that stuff that makes it less likely that the defendant did it. All of that is Rule 5, and Brady is what we call discovery. But if you can expand discovery as a defense attorney, then you can say, well, look at this over here. This wasn't turned over in time. And that's a fight that we have to do all the time, and sometimes it works for us, sometimes it doesn't, but you live to do it all again if all that's happened is continuances. So there's a lot of gamesmanship that goes on. The prosecutors in the office get paid to do that. That's the stuff that we should see coming. We should be an advocate for society and for the state and for the judicial system, and it's incumbent upon us to come up and say, Judge, that is not discovery. That's something else, but it's not discovery. All of the discovery was turned over in a timely fashion. If you want a crash course on discovery, go back and rewatch My Cousin Vinny, and the surprise and awe that you will see in Joe Pesci as he says that I've buddied up to the prosecutor and he gave me everything he's got on this case. And he thought, he talked him into it. Well, the rules say we've got to not only collect it, but then to give it out to them. So it's a lot of work. That work can be labeled in one word, and that's discovery.